Nice hat. I do hear bells. And I'm not Joan of Arc, and I hear bells.
Who
the
sang
bells
the song?
are on your head.
I hear the bells.
Oh,
Who sang that?
I don't know, but I know the song.
Come on.
I don't know that.
You stumped the band.
Right,
you
but
never
I don't know
this
that.
game.
I don't know. I don't know
You've
that
forgotten
one.
is
That's
what
in the
has happened.
50s,
Yeah.
isn't it? That's a 50s
Early
song.
60s?
Really? I don't know.
Happy Mardi Gras.
Same to you.
Yeah, thanks.
Nice
Fat
hat.
Tuesday.
I guess that's why it's
That's going to work for you, that hat.
I think I'm keeping it.
That's going to work for you.
I like it, although it's kind of annoying every time.
Yes, it is. So
But you know, after a while, you get used to the sound.
Do you?
Yeah. You know, it's good for you.
What's
Good luck.
incredible is I have a huge head because it fits you and it fits me.
I have a small head.
Oh, do you really?
I'm not an egomaniac in
No,
terms
but
of
I
head
didn't mean-
size.
I mean,
I have a small head. No.
I have a
He
small
has a big head. I have
You
a
have a
small
big
head.
I have a big head.
yeah, I have a
7
huge,
3/4.
huge
yeah.
head.
I have a small head.
And I
7
hate to bring this
3/4.
up, but I've also got a lot of hair. So
Yeah.
between the size of my head.
We don't.
How did we get on this?
Anyway, well, I'm wearing a hat.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's talk sports, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Tiger Woods
Sports for
returning to
800.
golf after now having the third operation on the same knee.
Yeah.
We were talking just a moment ago about that. What if he comes out and he's terrible?
He could
He
be, but he
says
won't
he's
be.
going to be great. He
Well,
says he feels great.
You know, he does. He
He's
says he
ready to
feels
go.
great.
He's hitting the ball well.
Well, that's
he
all
says.
good, and you want to see it. You know, I'm not going to dwell on the injury because I'm not going to say I don't care about it. There's certain athletes that when they come back, it's hallelujah for those of us who are still sports fans. I'm a sports fan. Okay, I don't make any pretense about my joy for certain things in sports. Even though it was a much longer time, when Muhammad Ali came back after 3 years of inactivity, I couldn't sleep as a little kid. I mean, I literally did not go to sleep that night before.
Really?
No, I didn't. And he fought, I believe, Jerry Quarry, or was it Oscar Bonavena? Which one? He fought those two guys. Those were his first two fights. I forget which one was first. He fought in Atlanta against Jerry Quarry, I think. And I could not go to sleep before he fought. And when Michael Jordan came back, I was in Idaho, and I took 3 flights to get to Indianapolis to cover Michael Jordan's return after a year and a half away, and he played in Indianapolis on a Sunday against the Pacers. And this is not that dramatic. Tiger didn't go away voluntarily. He had surgery. He hasn't even missed a whole season. We saw him win the U.S. Open last year. I'm very excited about seeing Tiger Woods. So I'm not going to dwell on the injury. I don't know how good he'll be. I do care. I want him to be Tiger Woods. I just
So
can't
does
wait
golf.
to see him tomorrow.
Golf really wants him to be Tiger Woods.
He'll be Tiger Woods. I don't know if he'll be. I think it's. We play a game all the time. Do you take Tiger or the field? I'll
Yes.
take the field in this one.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I'll take the field in this
And it's
one.
match play, too.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't expect him to win. I think this is what I'm going to say now is I think what faces Tiger. There has been built up an expectation that Tiger will be better than ever. Tiger is probably the best who ever played right now, and we're just waiting for him to get enough majors to pass Nicklaus and sort of certify that, because you can quantify it in golf. You really can. But he's probably the best who ever played now. To be the best ever, and he's won 4 majors in a row at one point. Mm-hmm. To be the best ever, he's going to probably have to win at least 3 majors this year. That to me is unrealistic. To ask him to be better than he ever was is unrealistic to me. I think the challenge facing Tiger is when he does win, and he will inevitably win. He can take a while winning. He can take months winning. But once he wins, he's got to win a bunch. Because if you just win once, and then the next 2 times somebody catches you and passes you, the great advantage Tiger has is not just the physical advantage, it's the psychological advantage.
Right.
And you lose that if you don't win 6 out of 10, like he does. So this one doesn't mean anything. It's once he starts winning that you see.
And here's what else I find interesting. I remember covering the PGA. When Tiger won his second slam, I believe it was a PGA in Chicago at Medina in 1999. And it felt like, here we go. And that's when he got on his roll.
Yeah.
You could feel it. If you were there and I was there on the grounds and talking to other players, it was just like, oh my God, it's like a tidal wave.
That's
coming.
right. They're afraid of him.
Right.
They're afraid of him.
They're all afraid
then
of him.
he didn't win for 13 in a row, and then he got on a second roll, and it was again, oh my God, and the tidal wave was actually bigger because he was older and entering his physical prime. Now, I'm saying all that to say this. If Tiger Woods somehow wins the first time out,
Well, that's such a wow.
in a match play situation in which he's already lost in the first round once, he's lost in the second round once.
Right.
If he wins his very first time out, he's playing with house money.
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
yes, I don't think he'll win. I just think you need to know that they're all afraid of him.
Mm-hmm.
The ones who aren't afraid of him haven't played him. That's all. They're not afraid of him yet because he hasn't beaten their brains out. The best of them, Ernie Els, Phil Mickelson, they're afraid of him. And they're the first ones who'll tell you, I've got to play great and he's got to be off. You know, we haven't seen anything in sports since Michael Jordan like Tiger Woods. I've said this before, I'm not counting Phelps because that happens once every 4 years. Okay? On a continuing basis, since Michael Jordan, we haven't seen anything other than Tiger Woods. The psychological intimidation.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you don't want to play this guy on Sunday. I mean, you don't want to play it.
Thursday doesn't go too well for some people either.
No. Let's talk a little bit about college hoops because
Because you've written it down in your book.
I've written it in my little book here. It's on the third line. And we talked about Maryland, the Maryland basketball program.
Yeah, baby. Big win over UNC.
Huge win.
Big
there were
win.
people, some of them in this room, who didn't think they could beat North Carolina, but they did.
I didn't.
I know.
I didn't.
That was who I meant, but I wasn't going to.
I didn't, but they did, and I'm
But
happy they did.
And because I thought perhaps they could.
Right.
And now, do you think they can beat Duke?
Oh.
It's been flattened a couple of,
No. I think they can beat Duke.
Oh, I do.
I
too.
think they can beat Duke because they have as good a record at home against Duke as they do against North Carolina. Duke killed them the last time. Duke beat them by 1,000 points the last time. And if you talk about, to use your phrase, playing with house money, Maryland's playing with house money in this game.
Yeah.
And I know you think they're going to win.
Yeah, I do.
I think they can win.
Yeah.
I would be much less surprised by them beating Duke than beating Carolina.
I think they will win this game. I will tell you this. This is what Gary Williams. No one is as good at a crusade as Gary Williams. No one is as good in the country at coming back just after being counted out as Gary Williams. That's what he does better than anyone.
And then they'll go lose at NC State.
Right, that's right.
Yeah,
Now,
exactly.
see,
Well,
Maryland,
yeah,
let's talk
that's
about the
the
bigger
other
picture
side.
here, because I think they're going to beat Duke. I'm on the record saying that. Okay, fine. What do they do to get to the tournament? Because if you beat Duke and you lose your last three, they're not going to get in.
You don't
okay,
think?
some people, no, they're not getting in.
They got to win one of the
One
last
more.
three.
In other words, 2 of the last 4. If they go 2-2, it could be Wake. It could be at Virginia, where Virginia's playing better now.
At NC State.
NC State, fine.
These are hard games.
Okay,
Yeah.
these are hard games. You got to get another one. So Maryland needs to beat Duke. First of all, Maryland now needs to beat Duke.
They need to beat Duke.
And
Yes.
they
They're
need
not
to win
getting in
one
without
more
it.
game.
Right.
So
Right.
Maryland is good at this thing. You know, the chip on the shoulder, Robert Conrad sort of deal. Maryland is great at that. And so I think that this sets up as an incredible week. You know, we're moving into my favorite time of the year, arguably. My favorite week. We're talking about weeks. The week where teams are on the bubble and they're desperate to win, that starts Wednesday night all over the country.
What does this mean? These people at ESPN calling it a soft bubble?
I don't
What
know.
does that
They
mean?
should be
What is a
ignored.
soft-
They should be ignored.
What is it? What is a soft bubble?
It doesn't exist, and we're not even bringing that phrase into this room. Thank you for dismissing
How
it.
can a bubble be soft?
Now, the teams that need to win, Wednesday is the bell lap. I mean, the gun goes off Wednesday.
Well, it went out for
starts
Georgetown
sprinting.
last night.
Well, and it's
It
over.
went off for
It's okay.
Georgetown,
Georgetown's
and
a
that's
young
it.
team. Georgetown's not under the same pressure as Maryland.
Right.
Maryland's under some pressure to get to the tournament.
Yeah.
Georgetown's been to the Final Four in the last 2 years.
Yes.
Maryland has not.
But Georgetown has cratered.
yeah, I mean,
Georgetown has
Georgetown's season
cratered.
is done.
They're
I mean,
done.
last night.
Yes.
In this particular city,
Right.
the Patriot League ain't getting 2. If American doesn't win
They're not
its
getting
tournament,
in. They're not getting in.
when was the last time no team from this area got in?
Well,
When was the last
never In the
time?
20,
no, it's been like
never in the 20.
Right.
Never in the 29
Right.
years I've been here.
It's been
Team's always in.
Sometimes, sometime in the 70s. We were
Okay,
researching it
before
then.
me.
And George Mason's got to win to get in, right?
Somebody's remember because I tell you some lean years. GW not only got in, they made it to the Sweet 16.
Right.
Or there was another lean time. Navy not only got in, they went to the Final 8. They were lost to Duke. So you always
But-
had. By the way, can Navy? What was Navy?
No, they're not going to win. That's the Patriot
Right.
League. They're not going.
Okay,
American's
so
better than them.
so American
George Mason any good?
I don't think
They're
so.
not. But when you have Maryland and Georgetown out,
Right.
ooh, you begin to go, ooh, what's
and
going
Virginia
on here?
out.
Virginia's out.
Virginia's out unless obviously unless you can win the
They're
ACC
out.
tournament.
They're out.
So next week starts the real deal around here. This week, really late this week. Sunday's March 1st.
Yes, it
Because
is.
March Madness starts in 5 days.
What, 2 weeks?
So
When you're 2 weeks
I'm
from March
I'm
Madness,
very
from this election
excited
Sunday,
about
right?
this. Selection Sunday is a
that the
week
15th?
from Sunday. 2 weeks from Sunday, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's 2
2
weeks
weeks.
from this
2 weeks
from
from
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah. So
Very exciting.
Everything is late this year. Everything gets a late start this
That's right.
year. Told you this before. The NFL, because Labor Day is the 7th of September,
Right.
the NFL will start on the 14th of
Right.
September. That's
Right.
late. It'll stretch. Everything's going to
Wow.
stretch
Into
forever.
January.
Yes.
Forever.
yes,
You know.
and the NFL likes it that way.
Yeah. I don't know that they like it
No,
that way.
no, they do.
Yeah, they do.
They think the
because they
calendar
think the
is-
later
yes.
in September they
Yes.
begin, the TV ratings are
Right,
higher right off the
right,
bat.
right.
Oh.
Cooler weather,
Yep.
kids back to school.
Yep.
They
Okay.
think they
They're
like
out
that.
of the way of
Because the
attendance
last 2
and
years,
everything.
this past year, it's the earliest you could be. Labor Day was
Second.
September
Right.
1st.
Right.
First, that's
Yeah.
right.
And so we started on the 8th because we were done. Monday Night Football was done the 22nd. Next year it's
28th.
done
Oh, it goes
on the
into
28th.
Yeah, and it goes. The season goes into
January
January.
6th,
Which
Super
as
Bowl.
it did-
January 6th,
as
Super
it
Bowl.
did
Or
a year
7.
ago, since you're playing
January
after,
7th, Super Bowl, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the
No,
championship.
February.
I mean February. February
But they're
7th.
actually playing the last Sunday night game
What else do you have?
after the first of the year. Well, I've got some big news for Cub Man over
What?
What happened?
there. Your guy, Mr. Cub.
Ernie Banks?
That's the guy.
What about him?
I guess he's gonna be Reverend Cub. He's talking about getting ordained so that
Good.
he can perform
Weddings. He's already.
weddings at Wrigley Field.
Well,
How do you feel
there's
about
been some
that?
talk about that.
Yeah.
I knew about. I saw Ernie Banks twice
but
this
he-
year. I was able to have a conversation with
Who
him. and
wouldn't
take
want to
pictures
get
with him.
married by Ernie
Let me just
Banks?
say
Exactly.
this:
You're
everybody
gonna
in
get
Chicago,
divorced
Who wouldn't
just
want
so
to-
you can get remarried.
second
right?
ceremony,
Yeah.
renew the vows
Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you want to get
in
married by Ernie
Wrigley
Banks?
at home plate.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
The only thing better is if Ditka played the organ while Ernie Banks was doing that.
The only thing though, if you do that this time, you got to tuck in your Cub jersey.
Can I tell you
Very
something?
What?
I don't know that I've ever discussed this because it was
Uh-oh.
during Monday Night Football. Jaws and I, we
Got married?
No, we
Oh.
went to when we were in
We
Chicago.
loved
We
each
went to eat at Ditka's. Now
you
I'm
did
gonna
tell
tell
me.
you this. We ate at Favre's restaurant in Green Bay. It was awful. I think that all of these restaurants with all these
Deerdorf's
celebrities,
in St.
I think
Louis.
they're. My guess is they're all
The
awful.
Harry Careys.
If you ask me, if they're going to be awful, I'm going to tell you they're going to be awful. All right. Universally, I'm going to say that.
Kornheiser's tanked. Yeah.
Would be terrible. Ditka's was great.
It was, isn't it?
Ditka's great. Not only was the food good to very good, not only were the portions enormous, but the sort of spirit. You've been in that
place,
place a
many
lot of times.
times, yeah.
The spirit in that place made it so enjoyable. And I've been to 5 or 6 places. I was at Jordan's once. I thought it was awful.
That's what I was gonna
You know, it was
say.
awful.
Yeah.
I've been to 5 or 6
The
of
one
these
here was
sorts of
terrible.
places, and it's led me to believe they're all awful. Ditka's was
There's 2 places
wonderful.
like that in
Shula's?
Chicago. That's great.
Wonderful.
3
Shula's?
actually.
Shula's, the food is very good, but you have no feeling
Well, it's a chain.
of specialty.
It's a chain.
No feeling.
Ditka's and Harry Carey's.
I've never been to
Harry
Carey's.
Carey's is great.
But Ditka's
Not
was,
good. Great.
and they had. Let me say another thing too. Most of the people in there, the age range was very wide, but it wasn't just people in their 60s and 70s who were tourists. There were locals
Chicagoans.
at Ditka's,
Oh, yeah.
and there were babes at Ditka's.
Like the photos.
wearing
How about
low-cut
the
stuff on the coldest day of the
Chicago,
year.
baby.
I mean, it was like.
It's a
Like Mardi
big
Gras?
time
I was-
city.
It's
Like
not.
Mardi
It's not that it
Gras?
was big time city. There are a lot of big time cities. This
Restaurant
was.
in a big time city.
This
It was
was
the
not a
Hampton
place where you walked out and said, "Why did I do that?"
No.
You knew why you did
You like the
it. It was
photos?
good.
How about the
It was
photos?
good. It was good. And by the way, we weren't comped. We paid. We paid
You know
our
what's
own
great?
way.
You know what's the greatest thing that happens in there? I've had events there, family events. You know, my nephew's christening. After that, we gathered at Ditka's and had a brunch. But the greatest thing you can have happen at Ditka's on a packed Friday night in the winter, and it seems to me because it's so wooded. You know, it's a wintertime place, fireplace going, the
Yeah,
whole thing.
yeah.
The coolest thing on a Friday night is when there's a buzz and
Ditka walks in.
comes in some double-breasted $3,000 Brioni suit, and he's Mike Ditka.
I was stunned.
You know,
My rule was avoid these joints like the
Yeah,
plague,
right.
and it was really
the
good.
next time you got to go to Harry
It
Carey's.
was really good. Yeah, I don't. Well, he ain't coming in. If he comes in on a Friday night, that's a big upset.